Ah, there you are again. Welcome back to the Black Quill. Come in, make yourself comfortable. Perhaps a cup of tea, a strong coffee, or even a glass of wine is in order. Go ahead, I'll wait. Once you're settled, draw your blanket a little tighter and dim the lights. Because tonight, we delve into the shadows where nightmares are born and whispered stories come alive. Are you ready? Good. Let us begin. Tonight's story, The Lurking Dread. I remember it well, that summer job in the Appalachian mountains. It was supposed to be a simple gig, just patrolling the parks, making sure campers were safe, keeping an eye out for wildfires. But let me tell you what I experienced in those woods. It was anything but simple. It started innocently enough. I was fresh out of college, eager to earn some cash before diving into the real world. When I saw the ad for a park ranger position, I thought, perfect, a chance to enjoy nature and get paid for it. Little did I know, nature had other plans for me. The first few weeks were uneventful. I'd drive around in my beat-up truck, check on campsites, and occasionally help a lost hiker find their way. But then, as the days grew shorter and the nights longer, I started noticing things. It was subtle at first, just a flicker of light in the corner of my eye, gone when I turned to look. I brushed it off as fatigue, maybe a reflection from my flashlight, but it kept happening more and more frequently. One night, I was doing a late patrol near the most remote part of the park. The trees were thick there, their branches reaching out like gnarled fingers, scraping against the sides of my truck. That's when I saw them clearly for the first time. Lights dancing between the trees. They weren't like any lights I'd seen before. They moved with an eerie grace, weaving through the forest as if they were alive. My first thought was UFOs, but no, these were different. They pulsed and flickered like bioluminescent creatures, but far larger than any firefly I'd ever seen. I pulled over, killed the engine, and just watched. The lights seemed to be moving in a pattern, almost like they were communicating. I felt a chill run down my spine as I realized they were getting closer to my truck. Suddenly, my radio crackled to life, making me jump. It was just static, but in that static, I swear I could hear whispers. Not words, exactly, but something alien. I switched it off quickly, my heart pounding in my chest. As the days passed, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. Even in broad daylight, I'd catch glimpses of movement just beyond the tree line. Sometimes, I'd hear rustling in the underbrush, but when I'd go to investigate, there'd be nothing there. Just an unnatural stillness that made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. I tried to rationalize it. Maybe it was just wildlife, or other campers playing tricks. But deep down, I knew, whatever was out there, it wasn't natural. It didn't feel like it was from our world. Even though it was obviously here, it just felt really wrong. The other rangers must have sensed something too. They started avoiding the more remote areas, making excuses to stick to the well-traveled paths. But me, I couldn't stay away. It was like those lights, those things were calling to me. Then came that night. The night everything changed. I was on a solo patrol in the deepest part of the park, the kind of place where the darkness seems to swallow you whole, where the silence is so complete, it feels like a physical weight on your chest. I was about halfway through my route when my truck started making a strange noise, a rattling, wheezing sound that grew louder with each passing minute. I knew I should turn back, but something compelled me to keep going. That's when it happened. The engine sputtered and died, leaving me stranded in the pitch-black forest. I tried to restart it, but nothing. Not even a click. It was like all the life had been sucked out of it. I sat there for a moment, trying to decide what to do. That's when I noticed the silence. Not just quiet, but a complete absence of sound. No crickets, no rustling leaves, nothing. It was as if the forest itself was holding its breath. And then I saw them, the lights. But this time, they were everywhere, surrounding my truck, pulsing and swirling in a hypnotic dance. They seemed closer than ever before, and I could swear I saw shapes moving within them. Impossible shapes that hurt my eyes to look at directly. I fumbled for my flashlight, my hands shaking so badly I could barely hold it. When I finally got it on, I almost wished I hadn't, because in its beam, I saw something that defied explanation. It was like the darkness itself had come alive, writhing, tentacle-like shadows that seemed to absorb the light, and eyes, hundreds of eyes, glowing with an otherworldly intelligence, all fixed on me. I wanted to scream, but no sound came out. I wanted to run, but my body wouldn't respond. All I could do was sit there, paralyzed with fear, as the things outside my truck pressed closer and closer. The air grew thick, oppressive, pressing down on my chest. The smell hit me next, a nauseating blend of sea and rot, as if the ocean had vomited its filth into the forest. I gagged, my hand covering my mouth and nose. Then came the sound, a wet, slithering noise that made my stomach churn. It circled the truck, deliberate and unhurried, as if it had all the time in the world. I fumbled for my phone, the blue glow of the screen casting faint light across the interior. No signal, of course. No one was coming to help me out here. Not this deep into the mountains, not in the dead of night. A loud scrape jolted me out of my thoughts. I turned just in time to see the thing materialize again, this time at the edge of the tree line. It was closer now, its writhing appendages curling around the gnarled trunks, as if testing the world around it. The glow that had first caught my eye was dimmer now, pulsing faintly from somewhere within the mass of tentacles, and then, impossibly, it began to move toward me and the truck. Panic surged in my chest as I scrambled to lock the doors. My shaking fingers barely found the button before another thud rocked the truck, this one against the passenger side. I turned to see nothing, just a smear of condensation on the glass. Then, from the corner of my eye, I saw it, a single tendril, thin and black, slithering up the window like a grotesque vine. Another joined it, and another, until the entire passenger side window was a churning mass of writhing limbs. The truck groaned under the weight as more of the creature's appendages draped across the hood. They didn't just touch the truck, they seemed to taste it, the tips of the tentacles twitching and pulsing as they slid across the metal. One of them coiled around the side mirror and snapped it off with an almost casual ease. The sound of shattering glass made me jump, and I pressed myself against the driver's side door, as far from the thing as I could get. It disappeared again, the sudden absence of its weight making the truck bounce slightly. My breaths came in shallow gasps as I scanned the darkness, my fingers clutching the steering wheel like it was a lifeline. The mist outside thickened, swirling against the windows in a way that felt alive. Then, with a wet smack, the tentacles returned, this time on the driver's side. They spread across the glass, writhing and pressing as if trying to force their way inside. I screamed, a raw, animal sound that filled the cab and echoed back at me. My hands fumbled for something, anything to defend myself with. The flashlight, the wrench under the seat, my knife. But I couldn't make myself move. My limbs felt leaden, my brain paralyzed by the sheer wrongness of what I was seeing. The tentacles began to retreat, peeling away from the windows one by one until they were gone. The windows began to fog up, not with condensation, but with some kind of oily substance that seemed to seep through the glass. And in that substance, I saw symbols forming, ancient-looking, geometrically intricate symbols that burned themselves into my mind. I don't know how long I sat there, trapped in that nightmare. It could have been minutes, or hours, or days. Time seemed to lose all meaning in the face of those cosmic horrors. When I finally came to my senses, the sun was rising. My truck started on the first try, as if nothing had ever been wrong with it. The forest was alive with the normal sounds of birds and small animals. But I knew that what I had seen was real. The evidence was there in a strange, iridescent residue on my windows. In the symbols I could still see when I closed my eyes. I quit that job the same day, packed up my things and left town without looking back. But even now, years later, I can't shake the feeling that a part of me is still there in those woods. And sometimes, on dark nights when the wind whispers through the trees, I swear I can see those lights again, calling me back to the horrors that wait in the shadows of the Appalachian mountains. So, if you're ever out there, in those remote parts of the park, and you see lights dancing between the trees, don't stop, don't investigate, just drive. Drive as fast and as far as you can. Because trust me, there are things in this world that we were never meant to understand. Things that, once seen, can never be unseen. And sometimes, ignorance truly is bliss. And so, our journey into the shadows comes to an end. For now, but the stories never truly stop. They linger, waiting for the right moment to find you again. If you enjoyed tonight's tale, do remember to subscribe, leave a comment, and share it with those who dare to tread the darker paths. Until next time, keep your lights low, your blankets tight, and your mind open to the mysteries of the unknown. This has been the Black Quill. Farewell. For now.